Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the customer care channel. So, I had a little bit of a thought today where I wanted to talk about customer journey maps, and I also need to complete my own for the customer care channel. So, I thought, why not take you through my customer journey maps? Completely transparent. I've not even looked at them yet. This is something I'm going to be doing blind. And there's lots and lots of improvements that I can be making. I'm fully aware of because I've not had time to do them. So it will give you I suppose, a complete show of what real customer journey map would look like. What can potentially wow my customers and what could potentially put my customers off. Um, so I thought I would start with sharing my screen. So I'll set that up now. And we will talk about communication channels first.
So for the next part of this video, I'm sorry my face won't be in the corner as I was expecting. I pressed pause on my on my video recording and forgot to press play. So just bear with me, and I hope that the screen is sufficient enough for you.
The first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a table where I write down all the places that you, as my audience, could find me. So this is all about the discovery phase. Where do you find me? How can you come across me? How can you communicate with me? So I'm just going to open a Google document and I'm going to write in all the potential communication channels and how you can discover me in a table first. So what I'm actually going to do, because I have 3,000 tabs open, is I'm going to open one tab. I'm going to try my best here because I don't know if you've noticed, I look slightly tired. Um, I've just put my toddler to bed and I've just spent the last hour lying down in a pitch black room with a noise machine on. So I'm feeling slightly tired now, even though it's 20 past 8. So let's see if I can switch my mind on. So, what I'm going to actually do first, like I said, is I'm going to open a Google document. So, just quickly, let's get this open. Um, let's go with a sheet. Right. So, yeah. So, I'm going to do, let's call this, um, I'm going to call it discovery. Oh, right. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be clear so you know what it is. So I'm going to now list down all the potential places you could potentially find me and any communication channels so that I know that I'm on. So the first one is going to be Google. You've then got YouTube. Oops. You've got Spotify. Oh, tell I'm tired. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, um, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest. Oh, I forgot my website. Channel. Um, um, let's have a think. What else? Can't think of any at the minute. So, um, a good thing to do actually is to then Google your name or Google your business name and let's see what comes up and then add those to the list. So let's start with that. So I'm going to type in customer care channel. So the first thing that comes up is on Acast. So that is my hosting platform. Acast. Um, oh, LinkedIn. I forgot about LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Do, 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 do. So what I have noticed there is the first thing is customer care channel comes up on Google as my podcast, which is amazing for my podcast, obviously. However, my website doesn't appear, which means I've got some SEO issues, or potentially need to do some Google adverts. That will be accounted for when I do my Google customer journey map. So I'm not too concerned about writing that down right now, because I'm aware of it and I'm going to write it down in my Google customer journey map. Next, I'm going to type in my actual name as well, because I also use my name in my branding. Right, so there's lots of Lisa Bakers in the world. It's very unlikely that anything will come up under my name, just because there's so many Lisa Bakers in the world. Whereas if I typed in my maiden name, I'd probably come up, but I'm not advertised as under my maiden name, so I don't need to do that. Right, okay. So we have all of these to start with, which is a good start. It doesn't matter if I've forgotten any, because let's be honest, we just need to get started with my customer journey maps and start improving my brand, my business. So what I'm going to do is just make it into a quick table. And let's call this the channels. No, we're going to call them discovery, and we're going to call this one priority. Okay. And let's add that into the table as well. Make them bold. Okay. So in this column, I'm now literally going to list the top priority down to the least priority, from where I'm aware that my traffic comes from. So if I know that most of my traffic comes from Google, it's going to be one of my highest priority options to choose. A good way to do this is to check your statistics on, for example, Google Analytics, if that's what you're using, or even down to my podcast analytics. So I could show you that. Let's have a look at that. So for Acast, this highlights to you your highest priority channel, because most of your audience are coming from that channel. So if I click on View on Insights and I do all the time, and you can see monthly downloads, it's slowly building, and you can see the numbers are very up and down here, because you've got ones that are a lot higher and then ones that are a lot lower. But what I'm trying to look at here is if I go to, I think it's under performance. No, it's not. Location. So it's not right. All time, all episodes, that's why. Right. I can see, for example, I have a lot of my audience is in India. A lot of people learning from me in India, then the US, then the UK, then the Philippines, and all the way down here. But if I wanted to look at the overview, like the whole time, this is the number that we've got. So this is where 2,392 people, or yes, people actually, have listened to my podcast. Whereas I know that number, when looking at my website, what is higher and which is lower. Because on my Google Analytics, my numbers for specifically my website are lower, because because my content is directly put onto the podcasting hosting, and they pump it out for me, or on YouTube where YouTube pumps it out for me. My website is obviously down to me and down to my SEO experience. So, and obviously my website needs to build over time to generate that traffic. So I know that my podcast is actually one of the most popular points of my business. So I would say that Acast is one of my top priorities. Then I would say it would be my website, then YouTube. And then these really LinkedIn and Facebook. I'd say Facebook 4, LinkedIn 5, and then these aren't really, they're not in really in order, so I'll just do random for these. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This just means the order that you're going to do them in. 11. Okay. Okay, so now that we have our priority list, I'm going to create our first customer journey map. I think I might actually do it within this spreadsheet to make it easier for myself, so it's all collated. CJM, customer journey map. And I'm going to open my first one. And what did I say was number 1? Priority Acast. So channel, keep wanting it to call it channels. Discovery, Acast. Okay, so all we're needing, let's put it in the middle here, is a 3-column table. You can have your steps in the middle. You're going to have your enhancers, or you might want to call them wow factors, to the right. Make sure I spell it right. And this side are your, I say, frustrations, also known as detractors. I just keep it simple, keep the language simple, frustrations. So what I have to do is now I have to think about how I would be discovered by someone in my audience via my podcast. So the first thing is probably to type in customer services or customer experience or business tips or something like that into maybe Spotify or Apple Podcast. But they are all different customer journey maps, right? So I have to pick one specifically here. I think Acast, I'll have to double check this, has its own um, listening website. So if I put Acast customer care channel in, obviously I come up here. And this is what it looks like. So if someone typed in, so the customer types in Acast customer care channel into Google, right? Problem is with that step is the fact that I'm assuming they know that I exist. But I'm going to go with it and let's see whether I can find any issues with if they know I exist. And I can also type in, to be fair, let's type in on this tab, Acast, let's type in customer services. It might come up with their own personal customer services. Oh yeah, podcast. Let's type that in and see what comes up. So there'll be lots of different ones. Customer experience patterns, podcast, submitting your podcast. So I don't show up for that, which means that I could add that. For example, that could be some SEO that I go for, customer services podcast. It could be that I put it in my show notes or my description of my podcast on Acast. So here, okay, I'm going to put in the detractors for this. Podcast doesn't show up for customer services podcast. I wonder if it shows up for customer experience. Experience podcast. 15 more. This is who I'm competing against for your listening ears. There's so many, and I'm not one of them. So obviously that's an issue. Experience management. I'm just now looking through. Oh, there I am. Okay, so I'm on that page, but I'm not showing in the top ones. I don't know what they are. Let's have a look. What are they? From sources across the web. Could be anywhere. Okay, so for this one, I do show up, but I am further down the page. So let's make these wrap text. Right. And I'm just going to put this as an extra line because right, so ideally you want to be the top of Google, don't you? That's why I've put it in a detractor. Okay, because that's an issue that I need to fix. It's maybe not directly affecting the customer, but it kind of is because they're not finding me in order to listen to me. So now if we go back to where we had typed in ACAS customer care channel into Google, and we'd found this website. This is the ACAST website. So what I'd put here is the customer is sent to here. From top ranking link on Google. Have I made that up? Was a top ranking customer care channel? No, I was. Right, okay, so that's good. That's good. Actually, I'm the first three, which is really good because it means I'm gonna not be missed. First four. The first four, so I'm that full screen. That is really good. So obviously this is an internal thing, but I'm the first four links on Google. There you go. Right. So when I'm on this page, what does it do? So the customer can follow me, they can listen to my episodes. They can only see the last 6 episodes. I didn't know that. Wonder if that's a setting. Okay. Can see latest 6 episodes and follow easily. Okay. What else can they do? So you can see my full description here. So this description has been written with my SEO keywords in mind. However, there's big gaps here. I don't like that. So on it's this one, isn't it? The podcast description, there are big gaps between the sentences. I want to fix that. Let's have a look. Right, this has been updated. So I've now got a full on customer success kit. This was just one freebie. I now have a full on bundle. So I need to change that and the link probably. So mentions and old link, I'm assuming. Listener feedback. Right. Don't really want my email there. So um remove email because I think I have too many communication channels at the minute and my email keeps getting full, to be honest. So I'd rather you contact me through like YouTube because I don't have to pay for the extra storage. Um, okay, and it says about Instagram. Right, okay. So this is where you need to be actually be clicking on the links and checking that they work. So the Instagram one works. It sends you through to my Instagram here. Oh, trying to kick me out, but it works. Sends you to my TikTok. It should do. There you go. TikTok. Whereas the reason these aren't high up on my priority list is because TikTok and Instagram in particular, um, I get. You can see, I suppose, in my statistics here, I get a reasonable amount of views and listens, but the amount of effort that's required to be put in order to create these, I feel that my time is better spent on videos and the podcast episodes that I can share on YouTube and on LinkedIn, because my what's the word, exposure to my specific audience that I'm trying to hit is better. Okay, this needs updating. Um, okay. And what I may even do is reread all of this and make sure it's still up to date, obviously, to make sure that I'm happy with what I'm putting out there. You've got, okay, so I'd like to actually take Fridays at 8 a.m. off that podcast cover. Reason being is that's what I was originally doing. Now I am putting out as much information as I can. So sometimes I might post 3 times in a week, sometimes I might post every other week. Yes, it's not consistent. However, I am getting more information out there by doing that, and it just suits me better, and seems to suit my audience pretty well as well. So I'm reaching more people by kind of mixing it up a little bit. I'll probably find a better routine when my kids go into school, um, but I've made that perfectly clear to my audience that that is the way it's going to be for the time being, because my children are 18 months and 3 years. So once they're a little bit older and they're going into school, I'll probably make this like a weekly thing or whatever best suits you guys. So um, I would like to do that as well. So um, take Fridays, 8 a.m. off podcast cover. Okay, it's a good job. I chose this one, isn't it? Because there's quite a lot I can be doing. So if we click on an episode, what happens? Okay, so you're sent through to the specific podcast episode information with a YouTube link. Okay, so what I will have to do is update the links on each of my episodes as well. So let's type this in. The customer clicks on an episode. So update links in all episode show notes. It's going to be a big job for me, that one. Um, I think the page is quite attractive. Again, there's these gaps. Don't really understand why there's gaps going on, because I've not intentionally put them in. Gaps in show notes. Um, disclaimer. Right, okay, so it just shows you that specific episode, and then you can click and press play. And you won't be able to hear that because I've got my microphone plugged in. I've just realised actually because it messes up my speakers with my laptop. But that will be working, and I will check that after I've unplugged my microphone as well. So, okay, so home episodes about, right, we've done all of those, so we've actually done that all the way from the start through to the end. If you want to get really granular, I'd click onto each and every episode and check each one. I'm going to do that when I update all of these improvements, so I don't need to show you the ins and outs of that one. What we haven't really heavily done is the wow factors, like what impresses the customer. I think this logo podcast cover is quite eye catching. The font looks a little bit blurry actually, but the actual picture jumps out at you. So I'm going to add that in here. And the reason we're adding these in, so logo, podcast cover is eye catching. But I'm going to add in on this side blurry font on podcast cover, see if I can improve that. We need to have a look at what impresses the audience, gets them clicking, because that's what you need to be playing on when you're advertising your episodes, for example. If you really think that your podcast cover really pops, you need to be putting that in people's faces because it'll get the attention that it needs in order for people to listen to your episodes, for example. Um, the colours on this page seem fine to me. They're pretty standard, really. Um, I can't change these yellow buttons because these are Acast specific. Let's actually double check what I'm saying there, because from what I can remember, yeah, so from what I can remember, the buttons aren't changeable. But if I click on website here, upgrade and start customizing, there you go. So if I want to pay, I can customize the page. Um, so all these, they're all grayed out. Okay, but it is an option. There you go. So if I want to upgrade, I can change the buttons there. But to be honest, I tend to show off my podcast episodes from my website, not from Acast. So that's not a big concern of mine. Um, yeah. So uh, so we've said the customer clicks on an episode, so you can listen easily from Acast. So I'm happy with that. So I'd say that customer journey map in particular is complete because the customer's gone from discovering you all the way through to listening to my actual podcast episode, and then maybe following you. So obviously, if we're going to look back at these, let's see if I can get it all on one screen if I do that. Right. So I have got quite a few things I can fix, and they're quite quick fixes actually. So I don't really need to be thinking about change management. Um, and reducing any impact on my customers. Actually, the fact that they haven't been done more impacts my audience, my customers, and by having old links and things like that. So the quicker I get that done, the better, really. And then these things on the right hand side, which are my wow factors, I can play upon. So obviously that's just a good thing. First 4 links on Google, that's really, really good. That's more for discovering. I'm not going to shout from the rooftops about that. What I can do is the podcast cover, I could enhance that even more, show that off more on social media, make sure it's actually on my website. I don't think I've got the picture on my website. So that's something I can do. I'm going to write that as a side note. Hmm, I type in today. Um, and the fact that you can listen very easily from Acast, I actually could use that as um, a link to share. If I find that people aren't finding my episodes correctly from wherever I'm sending them from, Acast was really, really simple, wasn't it? So I could use that. So as you can see, that was actually pretty quick, depending on the length of the journey map that you're doing. But I feel like that was a really good example to show you actually, because I've got a lot that I can deal with here. Anything that requires a lot of work, I would then go on to looking at my change management. How would I implement the changes? How would I fix the issue? Writing up the steps of fixing the issue, testing it, um, actually implementing it, communicating with my audience, all that, which I can link actually a video up above here, which is all about what change management is. I actually take you through this step by step in my customer experience course as well. So if you want to know the granular detail of keeping impact to your business and your customer as low as possible, make sure you check that out. The links will be down below. And my new free customer success bundle will be in the links down below as well, which helps you with your customer responses, specifically complaint responses, um, your customer focused business planner as well, and a customer avatar workbook, which helps you outline who your audience specifically is so that when you do your customer journey maps, you know exactly who you're serving. I hope you found that useful today. I just thought it'd be a interesting one to go through. I'm now going to go through the rest of them um, to explain obviously what customer journey mapping is, why we do it, because how quickly that happened then, you could now go and implement these improvements to your business and impress your customers that how, the benefits that they're getting from using your services and your products, how on point you are because you're constantly updating what you're doing to make it even better for your customers. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's slightly different to usual. Please do hit that subscribe button and like button if you've liked it, and share with someone else that's running a business or working in a business that you think would find this helpful. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.